Have you ever heard of the ancient practice of putting your name in salt water? Imagine a ritual so powerful that it could transform your deepest desires into reality. Wouldn't it be amazing to live a life free from pain and suffering, filled with serenity and inner peace? Stay with me until the end of this video, because today, I'm going to share with you a profound Buddhist teaching that not only illuminates how to achieve emotional balance, but also reveals an ancient secret that can help you turn your dreams into reality. And, yes, it involves salt water. Now, let's dive into the Buddhist wisdom behind this mysterious ritual. The power of ritual in Buddhism. In Buddhism, rituals hold great significance. They are not just actions or ceremonies, they are gateways to transformation. Salt water, as an element, has long been used in various spiritual practices to purify the body, mind, and spirit. In Buddhist philosophy, rituals are essential tools for clearing the mental clutter, attachments, desires, and negative thoughts that keep us bound to suffering. Salt water, specifically, is considered a purifying agent that can help cleanse these impurities from our lives. By placing your name in salt water, you are symbolically purifying your desires and intentions. But it goes much deeper than that. You're also inviting clarity and peace into your life. This ritual serves as a reminder that we, too, can cleanse ourselves of emotional pain, unhelpful habits, and limiting beliefs. Salt water as a symbol of transformation. Salt, in Buddhist teachings, is symbolic of many things. It is a cleanser, a purifier, and a boundary setter. Just as salt is used to preserve food, it also has the spiritual ability to preserve wisdom, truth, and emotional resilience. The practice of placing your name in salt water represents a commitment to letting go of attachment and craving, the two primary causes of human suffering. According to the Buddha, this practice invites us to let go of what no longer serves us. Whether it's negative emotions, past trauma, toxic relationships, or unrealistic expectations, salt water helps wash away these attachments, creating space for healing and growth, purification and self-awareness. Through this ritual, you engage in a process of purification, not just on a physical level, but on a deeper emotional and spiritual level. Buddhism teaches that our desires and attachments cloud our true nature, keeping us stuck in cycles of craving and dissatisfaction. By purifying your desires through the saltwater ritual, you gain clarity about what truly matters, and align yourself with your deeper purpose. In Buddhist philosophy, desires are not inherently bad, but our attachment to them is what causes suffering. Salt water is symbolic of breaking those attachments and creating emotional balance. This ritual has a rich historical and spiritual context, one that stretches back centuries. The wisdom behind saltwater rituals has been passed down through generations of Buddhist practitioners and monks. The role of rituals in Buddhism. Buddhist monks and practitioners have long understood that ritual plays an important role in the process of spiritual awakening and liberation. In many Buddhist temples and retreats, water, often combined with salt, has been used in purification rites. Not just for the body, but for the soul. Water, as a cleansing agent, symbolizes the removal of obstacles and impurities from our hearts and minds. By performing rituals like these, Buddhists can release their attachments to material desires, and move towards a state of liberation, where peace and serenity are not dependent on external circumstances but arise from within. Saltwater's historical significance. Salt is a substance that has been revered in many spiritual traditions across the world. In Buddhist philosophy, it is thought to carry the power to purify the mind and spirit. The historical practice of using salt in rituals dates back centuries. Not only in Buddhist culture but also in the snowy mountains of Japan, where the air is crisp and the silence is profound. There lived a Buddhist monk named Aro. Aro was not just known for his mastery of Buddhist teachings, but for his deep compassion and understanding of the human condition. His monastery was a refuge for those seeking peace, clarity, and healing. One winter, a young disciple arrived at the monastery, weighed down by emotional pain and the heavy burden of the world on his shoulders. His mind was clouded with negative thoughts, unresolved anger, and toxic relationships. He was lost in a sea of desires for wealth, recognition, and approval, that only deepened his sense of dissatisfaction. The disciple felt as if he was trapped in an endless cycle of wanting, but never truly finding peace. His desires led him from one fleeting pleasure to the next, never bringing the lasting contentment he so desperately sought. He felt disconnected from his true self and from the world around him. His emotional pain was so deep that it seemed to permeate every part of his life, clouding his judgment and his relationships. When Aro first saw the young disciple, he could see the torment in his eyes. He understood that the disciple's suffering was not just about external circumstances, but about his mind, his attachments, desires, and unprocessed emotions. Aro knew that true peace could only come when the disciple learned to let go of the things that were weighing him down. Aro's insight, with a calm and compassionate voice. The monk said, "You are not the desires you hold, nor the pain you feel. You are not defined by the attachments that bind you. True peace comes when we let go of what no longer serves us." The monk introduced the disciple to an ancient Buddhist ritual, the practice of placing one's name in salt water. The meaning behind the ritual. Salt water represents the purity of the earth. It has the power to cleanse not just the body, but the spirit. Aro explained. When you place your name in it, you are symbolically washing away the impurities in your heart, your desires, and your attachments. This ritual will help you reconnect with your true self, and restore the balance within you. Aro's words of wisdom. The monk continued. By engaging in this ritual, you allow yourself the space to reflect, to release, and to heal. Let go of the toxic relationships, the negative emotions, and the attachments that have kept you in the cycle of suffering. Only then will you be free to experience the peace that is your birthright. Now, let me share my own perspective on how this ritual can truly transform your life. At first glance, the act of placing your name in salt water may seem like nothing more than a symbolic gesture, a simple act of writing your name and immersing it in water. But when viewed through the lens of Zen philosophy and Buddhist teachings, it becomes a powerful tool for self-awareness and transformation. Buddhism and self-awareness. Buddhist philosophy teaches us that suffering arises when we become too attached to our desires, our emotions, and even our identities. We often find ourselves trapped in a cycle of dissatisfaction because we cling to things, whether they are material possessions, past experiences, or even the approval of others. These attachments prevent us from experiencing true peace and contentment. The power of detachment. Saltwater purification teaches us how to detach, not in the sense of becoming indifferent, but in the sense of freeing ourselves from the grip of our attachments. The ritual of placing your name in salt water is an act of letting go. By symbolically washing away the things that no longer serve you, you can reconnect with your true self. The self that is not defined by desire or pain. Personal reflection. In Zen, the practice of mindfulness is about observing your thoughts and emotions without attachment. The saltwater ritual is a way of reflecting on those emotions and desires, acknowledging them, and then releasing them. It's an opportunity to cleanse yourself from the inside out, creating mental clarity and emotional balance. When we release the clutter in our minds, we make space for peace and growth. But how can you apply this in your everyday life? It's actually quite simple, yet incredibly powerful. The first step is to identify the things, the relationships, or the negative thought patterns that are holding you back from living a peaceful and fulfilled life. Identify what weighs you down. We all have things that weigh us down: emotions, thoughts, situations, or even people that drain our energy and bring us pain. The key is to bring awareness to these things. Take a moment to reflect on what in your life feels like it is holding you back. It could be past trauma, unresolved anger, unspoken grudges, or negative beliefs about yourself. The act of releasing. Once you have identified these negative influences, it's time to release them. You can do this by physically writing them down on a piece of paper, or by visualizing them as dark clouds, weights, or barriers. Then, symbolically place them in salt water, whether it's a small bowl of water or simply imagining your burdens dissolving in water's purifying flow. Let the water cleanse you and allow those negative emotions or attachments to dissolve away, creating space for new energy. After you release what no longer serves you, you'll notice an incredible shift. By creating space in your mind and heart, you allow new, positive energy to flow in. You may begin to feel lighter, more focused, and more at peace. This simple ritual, practiced with intention, can transform the way you approach your life, allowing you to move forward with a clearer mind and a healed heart. There was a time in my life when I was overwhelmed with stress, negativity, and anxiety. I felt stuck in a loop of worrying about things I couldn't control, obsessing over past mistakes, and carrying the weight of other people's expectations. A transformative moment. One day, I decided to try the saltwater ritual for myself. I sat down and wrote out all of the thoughts and emotions that were clouding my mind, everything I was holding on to. I wrote them all down on a piece of paper and placed it in a small bowl of water. As I did this, I visualized all of the negative energy leaving my body and dissolving into the water. It was almost like watching a storm clear. And for the first time in weeks, I felt a sense of calm, the healing effect. After that, I repeated the practice. Whether it was writing my thoughts down and burning them, or simply imagining my worries being washed away by the flow of water. It wasn't an instant fix. But over time, I noticed a profound shift. The weight of those worries began to lift. I was able to approach each day with more clarity, with more space for joy and growth. It's incredible how something as simple as letting go of your burdens can bring you closer to peace.